So you have something called strings, right? Strings in Elasticsearch. All these string characters are stored using the data structure called as inverted index. Clear? I'll just go a little deeper into it. But all these string type, if you have some characters or word, all the type are stored in the inverted index in Elasticsearch. Clear till this point?
Yeah, clear.
And all the numerical field in Elasticsearch are stored using something called BKD tree. BKD. B stands for ball, K stands for kite, and D stands for den. So this is the data structure used by the numerical field to store the data. So it's an algorithm to store the data into the Elasticsearch. Clear till this point, right? What is the
Yes, sir.
inverted index and BK tree is all about? Clear, right?
Yeah, yeah, clear.
Now let's go further into it. Let's try to understand what this inverted index is all about. Can you see the picture on the left and this picture, right? In this picture, you get to see three different documents. All the three different document has some content with it, right? It has
Yes,
the blue, bright blue butterfly hangs on the breeze, and you have three different document. So in case of all NLP operation, so the you have like several steps you need to do before you index the data or if you want to process the data. You remember on the first class, right? All the data which is indexed into Elasticsearch undergoes some kind of pre-processing. You remember the statement I said on the first class?
yes, yes,
This is the pre-processing step. All the NLP operation consist of these primary pre-operation, something called as a tokenization, and something called lower casing, and something called as a stemming. So these are the primary operation applied on any text document to process it in a much better way. Let's try to understand the first one, which is something called as the tokenization. Tokenization is a process of which you divide the words in your free text. Let's say you have the word called the bright blue butter hangs on the breeze. So if you tokenize, the output would be the bright blue butterfly hangs on the breeze. That's the tokenization. Second tokenization is it's the best forget. So each word you see here, right?
yeah,
Individual word, whatever you see, some the first process something called as a tokenization. After tokenization, the next important step they do is something called lower casing. Now you might ask, like, what is the benefit of the lower casing? If you have the word called bright within the capital letter and the lower case of the bright, now both the bright, if you try to do a string comparison, both will yield a different result. Do you agree with me?
yes,
Why? Because ASCII character of the bright, smaller bright is something different. ASCII character of the upper bright is something different. But both contextually are the same. Only by few part of representing grammatical purpose, the people tend to use the uppercase sometimes. But both try to represent the same word, right? So the next step they do is lower casing. So this reduces the overall variation. Clear till this point?
yes, sorry.
And the next important step what they do something called root word. So instead of if you have the word called running, run and ran, so all these words try to indicate the same action. Do you agree with me on that area?
Yeah,
So ran, running, and what is it called? Ran, run.
run.
So run. So you have three tenses over here. Except the tense, like what is the tense? It indicates like whether it is present continuous or future continuous. But it's all the tenses are trying to represent the single action. The root word is the root word is run. Clear, right?
Yeah,
So again, they try to further reduce the variation by trimming of the tenses, because when people try to search some document, they don't really care about the tense. They really care about the verb or the subject. Clear, right? So
yeah,
that's the next step. And the last step, the people do something called stop word removal. Stop word removal, the word might be seems geeky, but it try to explain it a very simple way. Like if you have any the, is, was, and all these character or all these words will be removed from the English, because in order to frame a sentence we are using this character. If I say like I like to visit United States in next year, if I frame sentence like in this fashion, so I'm using like lot of grammatical words to make the sentence complete, right? I like to visit United States in the next upcoming year. So if you observe the and all, it doesn't make sense. But if I try to represent the same document, I like visit USA next year. If I represent only with these words, but it actually conveys the meaning. Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
So these are something called a stopword. So you see the list of stopword on the screen, right? And around every, for, from, in, isn't, not, on, the. So these are stopword. All these stopwords are removed. Then the content are stored as the following. You see the terms over here, right? Now the terms are being listed here. Like it says that the blue word called blue repeated in the document 1 and 3. Do you see here, right?
Yes.
Likewise, the bright is repeated in document 1 and 3. So this is something called as a inverted index. Clear?
Yes, Hari. Clear.
Now let's try to understand what is the benefit people use the inverted index. If I make a query called bright and blue, so you directly go to this inverted index, try to search for the two words called bright and blue, and I use the logic call and. So if I use a logic call and, you will do the intersection. Do you agree with me on that area?
Yeah.
So you have the two set 1 comma 3, and you have another set comma 1 comma 3. If I use the AND operation, so you will be doing the intersection, right? If you
Yeah.
do a OR operation, you will do the intersection. But if you do the AND operation, you will do the union. I think I am reversing the whole idea. Okay. If I do the AND operation, I will be doing the intersection. If I doing the OR operation, I will do the union. Clear?
Yeah, Hari.
So if I do the intersection operation, be 1 comma 3 and 1 comma 3, what is the end result?
So 1 3. 1 3.
So so now with the document ID 1 and 3 should be returned back to the user. See now how we are easily able to return the document. If you are doing the same stuff in the SQL, you need to go and search across all the what is it called? What is it? All the rows in the SQL. But in case of Elasticsearch, they are representing in this fashion. So by this mode, your search becomes much faster. You understand what happens behind the scene, right?
Yeah. So that pre-processing. Because of pre-processing.
Yeah, the inward index is the way in which the data is stored in Elasticsearch. Clear?
Yeah.
And this might explain you the overall idea. Can you see this? Can you make a story from this picture?
Okay. So first step is, I mean, like client
Uh huh.
is document.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is stored in. Actually, he's creating a document, and
Okay.
then in Elasticsearch, I mean, like by using that tokenizer and that pre-processing, so using that
Mm-hmm.
inverted index.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it is applying, I mean, like a different steps, like as we discussed, that tokenizer and that root word. I think that is applying that concepts, and that divided
Okay. Perfect. They are right.
for the short segment. And yeah, Hari, I got it until there.
You understand to some rough extent, right?
Yeah.
Maybe this would explain in the very in a very simple fashion. Do you understand here what is happening over here? For each word, set of document where it occurs. So it basically tries to say that where each and every document is present in the system. Maybe if this picture gets loaded, this might helpful for you. You see here a three different document. It got index and the positions. With the position, you are able to search in a much better way. This what people would do in all sort of NLP system. If you take NLP system, inverted index is one of the very popular algorithm. Yeah, you see this option, right? The posting list, the query processing, the alternative, other alternative, and pre-processing, stemming and two-word search, post-processing, snippet generation. All these will happen. Clear, right?
Yeah, Hari. So, if you don't mind, can you please show it with a small example, Hari? I mean, not
Uh,
here in our program.
Sorry, I
I
didn't
mean,
get the last.
yeah, yeah, maybe so in DevTools, can you please take like any example and show it to me?
On the inverted index,
Yeah,
you can't get to see the inverted index. We know that's a problem because it's a data structure used to store the data, right? You can't really see the data. Why? Because data is actually stored in the binary document or the in the binary level. You remember, right? I said if you want to how data are stored in a SQL data structure, they use something called B plus tree. You remember the algorithm I said, right?
yeah,
So, do you think like MySQL can show you how B tree is actually being implemented inside it? It's not
uh,
possible.
no, no, yeah,
Likewise,
okay,
we can't really see it, but in a rough way, which is not accurate. I will just say the upfront, it's not accurate, but it'll give you the rough idea how document might be splitted if you use a tokenizer. Maybe that I can get you, but really you can't see the how the data are stored in what is it called? Mm, in case of Elasticsearch, if you want to ask me how it, one second, let me start my Elasticsearch.
yeah,
Can you see the text over here, Vinod, right? So we
yeah,
have the text called the two quick brown foxes jumped over the lazy dog's bone. If I'm trying to apply the tokenization, try to understand what happens here. Can you see the tokenization here?
yeah,
That's the first token number one, and you have the offset, like how many offset you need to jump, and you have the token number two, you have the starting offset and the ending offset. You now understand, right? So it maintains the complete information. It marks with the proper starting offset. So this is how the document is divided. If you carefully observe here, the white space is being neglected, you see here, right?
yeah.
So that's the whole idea about the token analyzer. There are like other analyzers also available in the system, something called like a character analyzer. I'll just show you maybe how character analyzer or the letter analyzer will work for you. I'm just changing to letter. Now see how it gets been transformed. I'm just looking for the character level. So this is something called engram, where in which you have the by two character they try to group it. Do you see the option called T, right? D
Yeah.
and TH and HE and so on. So they try to divide by two characters on the whole. Clear?
Two characters, but why initially it starts with letter T?
That's something called as an engram here, Vinod. So again,
Okay,
these are like very advanced concepts which people use in the NLP operation. If you work in any NLP or if you want to get the autocomplete, so I'll just give you example where the engram really helps for you. If you do any autocomplete operation, you might have seen in Google search engine or Stack Overflow or Wikipedia, right? Whenever you hit some result, what happens when you start typing some input query, you start to get suggestion from the system, right?
yeah,
You just start typing only two or three characters. How it is able to autofill it for you? It is able to autofill because it start to generate the engram for you. If you type the word called in, then it try to retrieve the document which has starting word with the in. So all the other document which has like a IK, IN, IW and all that is correct. Only the word which has the prefix called IN is being displayed to you. Clear? That's the whole idea here.
Yeah, yeah, clear.
Any more questions, Vinod?
That's it for today, Hari.
Okay. Let me open the yesterday topic. We will just go into the aggregation a little bit. Where is the presentation? Yesterday you're clear with the metric aggregation, right? So how metric aggregations are done in the Elasticsearch, you're clear, right?
Yeah, Hari.
Now today let's focus on the term aggregation. Let's try to sorry. Let's try to understand how it works. You'll use the same Kibana example, Kibana what is it? Sample flight data. Can you see the result over here?
Yeah,
Now we have something called origin city name. So now let's try to find how many flights have started from this origin city. That is my query. If I want to do those kind of query, the easy way I would start encountering it is get Kibana sample flight data underscore search, and the to start with the aggregation you have to always start with the keyword called AGGS, and the aggregation name is I'm just going to define something called city per city, same example like in the PDF. And the aggregation type, what I'm going to do is a group by one. So I'm just using the terms. So I'm just using the type I need to, what is the column I need to specify? Field, colon. Now I need to specify the origin city name. Origin. Can you see on the result on the right hand side?
yeah,
It says the number of places where the most number of flight originated is the Rome, London, Osaka, and you see all these results. You understand here, right? What happens here when you do the aggregation, which is the group by traditional group by command. Clear?
yeah, Hari.
No question till this point, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's clear.
Okay. Now let's try to understand the advanced aggregations what are available in Elasticsearch. I said right, these are the common things what you can query in SQL or any standard database. But the advantage of using Elasticsearch is relies in how powerful the queries are. The query system is being designed and it's in operation. So the different type of aggregations what you can get from the Elasticsearch is the following. I may get the I'll just get the documentation itself. Where is it? Yeah, got it. Bucket aggregation. So the definition of the bucket aggregation is bucket aggregation don't calculate a metric or feel like a metric, but they instead on create the bucket for the data. So they are trying to say that if they fall into a particular category, or they are trying to create a particular category to group their data on the whole, the group one, group two, group three. By that you try to get the data. You see the results over here, right? The
Yeah,
different kind of work aggregation. The important aggregation what we will see in the class are the following, which is something called date histogram, and you have something called histogram aggregation on the whole, and you have something called terms. You see the terms over here, right?
yeah,
These are the important things we will see as well, because other things are like people who work in the deep into the NLP operation, they will be requiring it. but for general audience, these three itself like more than sufficient to understand the structure. Clear?
Yeah.
So now let's try to see what is the term aggregation is all about. Can you see what is this they have written over here? Can you read this first thing? Hello, Vinod.
Yes, Hari.
Can you read this? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
multi-bucket source aggregation where bucket are dynamically built per unique value. So this is the genre they say. They say for an music you have three different genres in a given document, which is the electronic, rock, and jazz, and you see the corresponding document count. Clear?
yeah,
And they say about the document size. And one of the important thing about the document counts in case of aggregations are they are approximate in nature. It's not accurate. They give you the approximate representation of the data. Clear? So that's
yeah.
what they say how to get the data and how the document has been returned. All the step is being taken back to you. Now let's go to the concept of histogram. So what comes to your mind when someone says histogram to you, Vinod? You understand what is histogram in math, in Excel sheet and mathematics? You might have written in high school, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, it represents historical data
Okay.
in maybe like
It represents historical data
using
is
graph.
correct. You see? Hello?
Yeah, Hari. So, I mean, like, it represents
What you said
historical.
is actually correct. You said is using graph, right?
Yeah.
Which is perfectly, which is a very valid statement. I'm just opening some sample histogram available in internet. I'm not taking anything fancy over here. I just took some sample here, took some image and typed the word called histogram. Now you see something called age and frequency. Can you explain like what is it happening in this picture? Can you try to explain me what is that?
So, years between 20 and 30, the frequency is 2. 30 to 40, that rise to 4. And 40 to 50, again, both are same. So, 30 to 40, 40 to 50 are same. And
Yeah, right. So if you observe the statement what you said to me, you said interval between 20 to 30 is the frequency 2, 30 to 40 is frequency is 4. That is the statement you said to me, right? So
yeah,
instead of saying each an individual point in my system, you try to group the data in some other form, some other interval or some other group. You try to aggregate into some kind of a group, and you try to display the document count. Maybe I would say that in a much better example. Let's say you are IAS officer for a particular district. You need to implement some scheme for the people. If you want to implement a scheme, the first thing you would want to observe is what is the distribution of age in my given district, right? So only then I can understand if my district has more number of age people, then I have to introduce scheme for the age people. If I see a lot of youngsters in my district, then I had to introduce the what is it called the scheme for the youngster. That's what you would do, right? Generally, if you want to implement some scheme.
yes, right.
But if you take all the Sensex report in a given area, they would say all the people name would be there and the age and the age would be there. If I just start saying that with the age group of 10 there are like 1,000 people, with the age group of 11 there are 12,000 people. Likewise, from 1 to 100 you can populate it. No one gonna complain that. But instead of populating in that way, if you try to break the chart into chart what you see in the screen, right? Instead you see from 0 to 10 this is the population, 20 to 30 this is the population. Now it becomes much easier for me to view the data, right?
Right. Yeah.
That is the whole idea about the histogram. I hope
Got
you
it.
understood what is a histogram in a much better way, right?
Yes, Hari.
Now let's see how Elasticsearch histogram actually really helps for you. Can you see this chart? This is actually done using the Kibana only. Can you see this chart?
Yeah.
Instead of seeing by every day in the each and every day in the year, they try to group by the what is it called, the month. So month give you see the easy representation to view the data. So which month has like lot of this information and how to process the data. Clear, right?
Yeah, clear, Hari.
Okay, now let's go into the aggregations part. And this is the aggregation. Can you see here? They said you need to provide the interval. So one of the most important thing with the histogram is only if you provide the interval, it can start grouping the information. Without interval, system can't group it on its own, right? Either you have to say that distribution of age for every 10 every age group of 10 or 20, it's all relies on your control. System doesn't control that. So you need to again specify the interval. So they said they want to do the aggregation on the age field, and this is the output they get. You see, right? 0 to 20, you have for two population, 20 to 30, you have population 1, and 30 to 40, you have population of 3. You understand, right, what's happening here?
Yeah.
And this is the syntax for the histogram. We are here dealing with something called terms. If you just replace it by the word called histogram, it will get you the result in your screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Then now let's go to the something concept of date histogram. What could be the difference between a histogram and date histogram? Can you make any wild guesses, Vinod?
So I think this date histogram, it represents the date. I mean, between the dates. I mean, like maybe with certain duration. Like let's say from today to next 1 month, 1.5. I mean, like in between the dates.
Yeah, you are right. So the histogram can be applied to numerical field, or you can apply to numerical field where you can divide into multiple intervals, right? But for the date histogram, all the input date histogram can be applied only for the date type. We have the date type in Elasticsearch, right? You saw, right? Whenever you want to index some year, or if you want to index some time related stuff, you have to use the date field in Elasticsearch. Only on the date field you can really apply the date histogram. On applying that, you can actually specify that what is the interval again you're looking to show the data. I'll just show you the data in the Kibana dev tool how it comes here. So now let's try to find the same query, and let's try to find what is the timestamp here. The timestamp you see here, right? There's a field called timestamp itself. Let's try to fire this and see how we can get the result. Get Kibana
I think you need to close the.
1 second. I'm just seeing what is that I'm using here. I think I need to specify the interval, I guess. You see the exception here, right? It says that invalid interval specified over here must be not non-null. So again, we need to specify the interval. I'll just say the interval here. It's month, or I'm not sure. Let me check with the documentation with the month or again. Calendar interval. Okay. Field is timestamp, and maybe I'll just go with the day, or maybe why it is not matching any idea. Let me just see. So whether it everything is released on the same day 2004 timestamp 2020-04-07. Okay, I think it's everything on a given day. Let me just fire it for the hours. Maybe let me try with the hours whether it works. 2 weeks. Again, you can get to see the like lot of options here, like how what is the type you're looking for. I'm changing for hours. Hours can't be parsed for a reason. Why is that? I'll specify the time over here. Let me check the data type here once. I said right, only on the date timestamp you can able to apply this field. Again, yeah, it's good to verify that whether timestamp is the it belongs under date type. So I'm just searching for the timestamp here. I think it's an index timestamp. I believe that's why it is not able to showing here. I guess maybe I'll use this customer birth date or order date. Let me fire with that. I got it. Maybe the timestamp what we saw, right? It can be either a string might be. That's what is not able to get the content. See, when we're able to get it from the datetime field, it is now able to return the content, right? Now
Yeah,
let's change it to month. Now do you see here, right? Now the customer has the age group in two different months. I guess it's January and February if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it's you see the month over here, right? 04 and 05. In
yeah,
month of 04 you have like 3275 as a customer. In month of what is it called 05 they have like 1400 customer. It's basically I use the order date, so it gives you like number of tickets booked on the April and May. Clear?
yeah, Hari. Yeah, it's clear.
Now we are clear with the basics of aggregations, right?
Yeah,